Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, my quest for England and our conversation about the coronavirus, got to get it right, COVID-19, and a more practical conversation about the sort of things that might be useful to bear in mind and things that you can do. And I'm once again joined by the very lovely Kym Murden, who is a herbalist.
Hello.
And once again, I will put a link to your YouTube channel in so you can look her up and get even better advice later on. Anyway, so in our first video, if you didn't see it, do check it out. We were talking about really, I suppose, how the agency that you have to look after yourself generally is your responsibility. This one is much more, now that we have the coronavirus spreading, there's a lot of confusion, frustration, misinformation, and of course people want to know what they can do to help themselves, I suppose.
Yes.
And we've all been told we've got to wash our hands.
We have.
Now let me ask you this question to start off, because everybody's been I've been washing my hands. And the one thing that I found that the media haven't really said, or at least I haven't picked up on, is if you've touched something that the virus is on and it's on your hands, does your hand absorb the virus? Is that how you catch it?
No, that's not what's going on there, unless you've got an open cut. Because what we're doing then, it's good, isn't it? Because these assumptions that are made that we should know why we're saying wash our hands. It's so that the soap is breaking down the virus and killing it. That's what soap does, lysis. And then what we're wanting to stop is the transmission to our soft mucosa. So we're talking about our mouth, our eyes, our nose.
Right. So because we touch I touch my face frequently.
Yes, and you might just sort of scratch our face, but of course then you might then eat something and brush that bit, into your mouth. So these are, because we're talking about tiny things, and they're looking for their entry point.
Right.
And once
it's not airborne. You're not breathing it in unless someone sneezes on you.
Unless you're close and you've got that droplet transmission, as I understand it. I'm not the expert in this, but yes, that so there will be droplet transmission, but also touch. And I think the thing I'm picking up on about this virus is that it is having a very long life on hard surfaces. So there's always things on surfaces, but this seems to on hard surfaces.
So that's good, because we're being told wash your hands, but I guess from my point of view, it's not being clear that actually it's because it's trying to find a way in.
So if you think about from your mouth to your bottom, that's your the internal communication with the external world.
Right.
Okay. So you've got the tube going all the way through, and what things like viruses are wanting to do? They're wanting to get in, and they're wanting to start to attack, our everyday healthy working system. Immune system. So that brings us on, to the guts. Why. One of the most important things that if we're eating well and we've got a healthy gut, that we have better chances of fighting infections. And it's like, well, what does that mean in very sort of quick, simple terms? It's things like, having so we have good gut flora and bad gut flora. Now, if we've got a ratio of good gut flora, it does amazing things, like not just only break down our food, it actually produces vitamins and minerals. It also produces immune activity. So it's going to it's going to go, right, you guys, you're not going to get in and attack, Richard with this virus. We're going to work hard and knock it out right there and then. So if our gut is compromised through, poor diet or smoking, maybe one's had lots of infections, had lots of antibiotics, these things, and the contraceptive pill, these things knock out all the time. Our sugar. So it's about getting ourselves into good gut health. That's
yes, which sort of reinforces what we were saying in the first video about looking after yourself just generally. To get yourself into a good state. And
we were saying, weren't we, that eat healthily, and we go, well,
what does that mean?
What does that mean? How do I do it? And so what I'm talking about when I say eat healthily, I'm talking about balance. And I think where we can get our hands on it, depending on the time of year and of course our budget. But fresh foods, your fresh fruits are going to be full of things like vitamin C. All your, I'm a great fan of things like the cabbage and leek family. So onions and leeks and cabbage, they've got great compounds in there that for example, they've got sulfur compounds which are good at fighting.
And are you saying that if possible, cook them yourself?
Absolutely.
From the raw materials.
Yeah.
Or the raw vegetables.
Yeah, because anything that comes in fresh, it's going to be more vital. It hasn't been sitting around on some shelf.
So tins of soup or tins of this, are processed.
It's a process. Okay, they have their place in our modern world.
Yeah.
But the fresher, the better of anything that we can do. Really good. So and again, things like your fruits. A good thing to remember actually is remember to wash your fruits and vegetables. I know a lot of people don't forget to do that.
Yes.
And again, because things get transmitted on those anyway. So if you're just going to, please don't just go and get an apple from the. Do you get greengrocers anymore?
Supermarkets.
Don't just put it straight in your mouth. Wash it.
Yes.
Wash it.
Yes, because again, that's another entry point.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then within that, of course, there's going to be a whole myriad of people who've got different dietary takes on things. I'm of the wisdom from 20 years of practice. Go broad diet. So good proteins. So I'm quite happy with meats and fish and things, and have so things like actually stews or making things with stock.
Yes.
So bone stock. You go, well, is that healthy? Absolutely. Again, they're doing things really beneficial for our gut flora.
Yes.
So if you haven't done that already, if we hopped the unfortunate scenario, if we do end up getting this infection, and it seems to be that most of us... It
seems that we're going to have, whether we know it or not, we may have it.
We may have it, and we may have it very mildly, but it's then important that we eat well. So things like vegetable stock and meat stock, you can make that up now, put it in your freezer. So then if you're not well or someone else in the household isn't well, that's a really good food source when you're convalescing. It's nutritious, it's easy to digest, because again, another thing that happens when we get a viral infection, everything else starts to shut down, and then it's hard to get the nutrients in and the medicines in to help the body fight back, because basically that virus is going, I want to get you and I want to shut everything down, and we're going to go, no, we're going to give it all the healthy cells and therefore the organs in our body the fighting chance to really push back.
Yes.
So does that make sense?
No, it does. Yeah. So I mean, I know it sounds like it's the same old story that people peddle out. Got to have healthy living and fresh fruit and veg. But basically, you're saying that the reason it's a cliche is because it blooming well works.
It blooming well works, and and within that, it's like sleep well and have fresh air. Make sure that if you're in the house, open your windows, just let that exchange of oxygen take place. There's things called positive and negative ions, and negative ions are the good things. So so even if you're healthy, keep doing that. Or if someone's not well, make sure you ventilate the space for them. So it's
and sleep a good thing.
Absolutely, all our healing goes on in our sleep phase. So sleep is brilliant. So if you're not sleeping well at the moment, start sleeping now. But obviously sometimes we don't sleep well. But
no, I suppose the worry and the fear of not only yourself but your friends and neighbours of this thing as it sweeps through the country, is enough to make you not sleep. And so it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that you're lowering your ability, your resistance.
And I think to put a bit, and I think I've been having the conversations with people, I go, we've got to have some sense of proportion here, because as we're sitting here, there's people dying of sepsis, there's people dying of cancer. This is not the only thing on the planet, and of course there'll be other people having other health emergencies and things. So I think it's like, let's not make this the total and be all end all focus. Okay,
no, that's right. You survive coronavirus but get hit down by a lorry.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's just part of.
Back to,
and I guess normal living is that there will always be these very small viral things which are going to challenge us.
Yes.
But because, like we said before in the previous video, that we've almost become immune to the fact that we are creatures of nature.
Yes, and I think yes, and nature. Back to I think nature will limit us, and maybe there will be good things in. I say that in the sense that we will become maybe a little bit more humble.
Yes.
And that we're not invincible, and we do need to take care of ourselves and that which surrounds us. So that's
your speciality is herbal medicine.
Yep.
And I know that you endorse lots of different types of teas.
Yes.
So
yes.
Presumably there are some health-giving teas that can help your immune system or help your gut and that sort of thing.
Yes. Well, I think some of these things, you can go into your supermarket and get again, which will be culinary teas, but they'll have their place. Or you might have a friendly herbalist nearby that you can go and get things from, or you might have things in your garden. So it might surprise people, but things like number one, chamomile. So I'm not. There's not one herb that will.
It's not that. So yeah.
There's no magic cure.
That's the other thing that we said just before we started filming. I said, of course, there is going to be quacks out there who online will advertise something that is likely to be the cure-all, like they have for everything.
And they'll charge you a blinking fortune
an
for
absolute fortune.
Yes.
And then when you get the pills, nothing changes.
And then you'll be that, is it working, is it not? So let me just run through a few that are going to be, potentially really helpful. So chamomile for calming people down. It's also a digestive herb, so it's going to be helping the digestive system straight away. Then we can, so that's sort of broad spectrum. If you're starting to feel slightly unwell, there's things like elderflower, elderberry, peppermint, ginger. So you can do these as a mixture of a tea, or there might be a tea bag mix you find. So those are herbs, a mixture of herbs that are going to have antiviral properties, because that's what we're up against.
Yeah.
Although that this virus is mutating and there's going to be different things going on. The peppermint is cooling. It helps the digestive system again because it stops. It's going to stop any sort of spasm. It's going to help absorption. You can put in things like ginger, which are warming to the gut. Again, really helping the digestive process. And there's an element in any infective process, when we do start getting a temperature, as long as it's not going into that dangerous range, what's happening there is the body's going, I'm trying to burn this virus off. So you kind of don't, that's why those first signs, you can actually work a bit with that fever.
There's a sort of latitude before you have to worry.
Yes, before you have to worry. What other herbs? Lots of people do things. They've been wise. They've made their elderberry cordials or their elderberry syrups back in the autumn, and they take those religiously every day. So you're keeping your vitamin C up. You're keeping your immune system.
Is there anything that you're a herbalist and where you are in Lewis, you can go rambling and pick stuff throughout the year? Is there any particularly useful herbs that one can forage for right now?
A bit hard that one.
It's the wrong time of year.
Well, actually, there's one that, going back to that bone, the stock, the bone broth and stock, which might sound a bit curious, but the roots of dandelion, and we're just at the end of being able to harvest roots, but the dandelion is, you'll see it in your gardens, that tiger, tooth-shaped leaf. The roots, if you dig those up and scrub them, you can chop them up and put them in the very end of making a stock, and they've got immune enhancing properties. Right. So again, it's very much always a broad. What I can give out here, is sort of broad spectrum advice. Again, it's about keeping ourselves healthy and putting the right things in to just do our best. And if we do our best, that is good enough.
Absolutely.
In my book.
So rather than not doing anything and just continuing with processed foods, lots of smoking, sugary drinks, burying your head in the sand and thinking, it's all right, I'll get something from the hospital.
Yes, or it won't happen to me at all.
Or it won't happen.
Yeah.
Just look after yourself in all those ways that you've been discussing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And best of luck. I don't mean it like that.
No, you
don't. But
it's
very few people are really suffering badly
at this point. I'm sure we're going to have a few interesting weeks ahead of us.
And again, try not to be too fearful of what you're being told on the media, because the news is always going to give you the worst statistics.
Absolutely. And rather than take your advice from them, of course, go and use the NHS sensibly for what it's used for.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and so that they can plan and, because they're going to be challenged. So, yeah.
Well, there we are. I hope that has been of some use and reassuring in some way. And what I would really love to see is the comments that you make and what you think about it and what you're doing about it and what other suggestions that you have. It's just great to get the conversation going.
I know that we can't, there's stuff you can do, and for each other.
So don't forget to check out Kym's channel. No doubt as the year progresses and we see the fluctuations of this, Kym will have some more advice to keep yourself healthy. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and thank you watching. And thank you for washing your hands.
Yes, wash your hands.
Wash your
Don't
hands.
do that. Do that.
Yeah, no thumbs up. Wash them, keep them. Try and remember, if you haven't washed your hands, don't touch your face. That's good. Anyway, thank you so much, Kym.
Thank you.
And let's hope it's not as bad as everybody makes out.
Yeah.
Till the next time. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Bye bye for now.
Bye bye.